Very good evening, my dear Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Warm welcome to meeting number 1345. The theme of today's meeting is when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Now this theme takes me back to second week of March 2000 when India were playing Australia in the second test of a 3-match test series. Now India were already down 1-0. Now they are following on in the second test and they were trailing by 42 runs and they had already lost 4 wickets. Now everyone was expecting that they will be bowled out dismally over the next 1 hour. Now in came Rahul Dravid, who was woefully out of form. Now he was already demoted to number 6 and people expected that if he failed this game, he will be dropped from the next game. Now what happened after that was something remarkable. Dravid played brilliantly to score a marvelous 180 on a turning track against the best bowling attack in the world. Dravid and Lakshman carved a brilliant partnership to set a difficult chase for Australia, and India then bowled brilliantly to bowl the Australians out and become the second team ever to win after following on. This incident tells us that sometimes the toughest of situations help in carving out the toughest of characters. Moving on, let me remind you all about the 3 ways by which we can make today's meeting a fun meeting for all of us. Number 1, please not walk around or move around when someone is speaking. You may do so when you get an applause. Number 2, please not say anything which may be offensive in a political, religious or gender-related context. Number 3, for the duration of this meeting, can you please put your phones on silent? I'll give you about 10 seconds for that. So the next person to come on stage, his toughness is something he lacks and he's working on being more resilient, but to me he's one of the toughest characters that I know of. Please put your hands together for Toastmaster Vaidya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sai. I call to order meeting number 1345 of Bangalore Toastmasters Club. So the minutes of the previous meeting 1344 was shared over WhatsApp and over mail, and there were a couple of suggestions which came in. So the minutes got amended again, and the amended minutes were shared again by our Secretary Johnson Bruno de Sousa today. Are the minutes in order? Yes. Yes, please.
In order, however, blog not published since 6 weeks.
Sorry?
Blog posts not updated since 6 weeks.
Blog post, is it? Okay. So please make a note of it. Sure. Okay. So now the minutes of the previous meeting 1344 stands fast. So I could see quite a few guests today. So may I request them to please rise. So can you get yourself introduced, please?
Hi, I'm Naveen.
Where from you are coming?
I'm from Bangalore.
You are from Bangalore.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Coming from Nepal, Bangalore North.
Okay, excellent. How about you, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Sam. I was in Bangalore. I've been here for the past 3 years. And yeah, basically.
Thank you very much. So you all can get yourself introduced by spelling out your name and where you are coming.
Yeah, I'm Shaukat. I've been a Toastmaster for some time and I was in Mumbai. I just came to Bangalore, so I just came here to see your job.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Naomi. This is my third meeting and I came from Java.
From?
Java.
Jalali. Okay, from Bangalore. Okay, very good.
Hi, I'm Mangalada. This is Mangalada. I'm from Kasur.
So gentlemen, I think I can safely presume people who are seated here are members of our club, the Bangalore Toastmasters Club. So I guess if you have any specific questions related to our club or Toastmasters as a moment, then please do reach out to people who are seated and the one who is standing here. So members, how do we welcome the wonderful guests? Thank you very much. Well, the theme for today's meeting is when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. It signifies the importance of the word resilience, being resilient, the guts, the perseverance. It signifies the word gut and perseverance. There was a young man who was employed with the Hungarian army, and he was employed as a sergeant. And he was one of the best shooters in Hungary. Name any competition that happened in Hungary or in Europe, he used to win. And his name was Karli Takacs. But disaster struck one day. When he was in his regular army training, a hand grenade went off. He was holding a grenade and that's when it exploded, because of which his hand had to get amputated. His shooting hand got amputated. People in the army felt that this gentleman is not going to be seen around in the shooting competition again. So Karli Takacs had two options in front of him. One, to wallow in self-pity and then say, okay, end of the game. Let me go and have a retired life because the military is going to take care of me. And the second option was, go back to the drawing board and then get myself pumped up and then let me start my practicing. Karli Takacs chose the second option. He lost his shooting hand, which was the right hand, but he went back to his native, his village, and he started practicing with his left hand. 1 year of practice. He was not to be seen in the nearby town as well. He was in his village practicing day in and day out for close to 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days later, he appeared in the competition circuit in the Captain Budapest. And the people were surprised. This gentleman lost his right hand, which was a shooting hand. Now he is turning up for a competition, so they were ridiculing him. But Karli Takacs had a different idea. He shot, and then shot, and then shot. Bang on target, and he won the Hungarian national championship. But his dream was not to win only the Hungarian national championship. He wanted to win a gold medal in Olympics. But unfortunately, 1940 and 1944 Olympics were called off because of World War II. So he had to wait for close to 12 years. And after 12 years, 1948 London Olympics, Karli Takacs, left hand, shot, gold medal. 1952 Helsinki Olympics, left hand, which was not his original, that natural hand, again gold medal. 2 gold medals and a Hungarian national championship after losing the shooting hand. That's called guts, resilience. I haven't seen any example which is remarkable as that of Karli Takacs' story. With this gentleman, with this note, let me introduce you to a person who lives by the dictum that the going gets tough, the tough gets going. We all know that during the period COVID, for close to 2 years, the hospitality industry took a severe beating. Travel was not there much, and people were not ready to stay in a hotel. People were not traveling, in fact. Business took a real downturn and beating. So he is an entrepreneur who is into hospitality. But those 2 years, he ensured that he built his brand. Now, the homestay that he owns in the beautiful city of Chikmagalur is judged as one of the best by Traveler's Choice, because he worked during the time of distress, when everything else was knocked down. So this gentleman rose like a phoenix. And ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome the MC for today's evening, a man with a gifted gab, Toastmaster Alan Arana.
when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. When I heard this theme, the first thing that I did was open Google. But as I was doing that, it didn't feel personal. When you narrate someone else's story, it doesn't appear personal to you. And so I tried to look at my life, and I suddenly went back to the time I was in school. And then I realized that in school, I was not very good with many subjects, in particular mathematics. And slowly but surely, I was defined by it. I thought that was the end of the world for me. To make matters worse, I had a sister and brother, both elder to me, both in the same school, who were doing very well in studies. And I thought this is my life. But, interestingly enough, I just went through that phase. You could call it resilience, or you could just say living each day as it goes. Why am I narrating the story to you is because today, as I'm standing in front of you, on many days I don't remember those days. Because I went through that time, and today I've realized that I've come back stronger. Before I took up this role, I was very nervous. It's tough. Taking on a TMOD role, you get very nervous. But as I'm standing here in front of all of you and seeing all your wonderful, cheerful smiles, I don't know whether it's for Sureka Snacks, let's not get confused here, but seeing all the wonderful smiles, the tough actually gets going. Speaking about battling all odds, this movement here was started by a visionary called Ralph C. Smedley in his basement. Against all odds, having a dream to make people comfortable with public speaking, today the Toastmaster movement is in more than 15,000 clubs in more than 122 countries. So, a typical Toastmaster meeting is divided into 3 stages. You have the prepared speeches, the table topics, and the evaluation session. Now, speaking about evaluation session, the evaluation session is held by a General Evaluator, who I will introduce at the start of the evaluation session. But the General Evaluator is ably supported by a tag team, and it gives me immense pleasure to introduce them to all of you today. Now, our timer for today is a mystery novel enthusiast. May I call on Abhinandan to explain his role, please?
Yeah, so as a timer, it's my duty to time and record the duration of the entire meeting and its individual parts. For the prepared speeches, I'll be holding up the green card 1 minute before the end of the given duration, the yellow card half a minute before, and the red card at the end of the duration, and I'll also be ringing the bell at this point in time. Similarly for the table topics.
Please give him a huge round of applause. These are what we call the hidden heroes of the meeting, right? And it's a great role that they're doing. Now, the R counter, I was about to say then I corrected myself because I am reaching the R counter. So, the R counter is manned by someone who loves drawing caricatures, okay? And that is helmed by Abhijit. So, may I request you to explain your role, please?
As an R-counter, I will be listening very carefully for the use of vocal phrases and crutch words such as you know, and repetitive words or phrases. I will keep track of everyone and report at the end of the meeting on who best control their use of filler words. This evaluation starts at the beginning of the meeting and ends at the adjournment. Thank you.
Great. Round of applause. Now, interesting thing about our grammarian is that one day she was going through the paper. She saw a luxury watch ad. And the next thing she did is she rushed to UB City and bought a 4 lakh watch. The best part is her husband didn't know about it. And then that was followed promptly by a call from her CA. Right? In the role of grammarian, we have Shelma. Can you please explain your role?
As grammarian, I am responsible for introducing the word of today. So today's word is resilient. Resilience is very different than being numb. Resilience means you experience, you feel, you fail, you hurt, you fall, but you keep going. So I'm going to observe the good usage of words as well as any improvement areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Please give them a huge round of applause all the time. Now we move on to the prepared speeches. Are you excited? Yes. Little more excitement, please. Yes. You know, you give a lot of confidence to the speaker coming. The more you say yes, they jump out of their seat, right? Yeah. So, moving on to the prepared speeches. Now, our first speaker is attempting her icebreaker from Presentation Mastery Pathway. Before I go on to talk about the speaker, her evaluator is someone who recently meditated in the rain, and it was one of the most amazing experiences of his life. May I call on Ganesh Pai to read out the guidelines of the speaker's speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster. For Toastmasters and guests, a very good evening. The speaker is attempting the icebreaker speech. The purpose of the speech is for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. Timer, please note, speak in this 4 to 6 minutes. All the best to the target speaker. Thank you.
Our speaker believes she is a better listener than a speaker. She is planning to change all that with this icebreaker, with her speech titled Question Mark. Please put your hands together for Rashi.
Most gifts are wrapped in paper, but my mother's was wrapped in a blanket. Born on the 19th of December 2003, I was an extremely shy and reserved kid. My parents, strict but not strict, very unpredictable, yet my biggest support system. Pampered me until there was someone else. When my cute little baby brother was born, I was told to be a responsible elder sister by taking good care of him. I am the best sister my brother could ask for, and he loves me secretly. He is my go-to person for when I need a glass of water or want to switch on the fan. While there was a family at home, I found another at school. School life was wholesome. From making an amazing bunch of friends to participating in dance events to not troubling the teachers, it has all been delightful. I am the kind of person that does what is expected to and enough to get by. So I never really had any interests. There is no such thing as bad people. We are all just people who sometimes do bad things. One of my all-time favorite quotes from question that my friends did was to take my water bottle and keep it on the highest rack of the cupboard and somehow expect me to reach for it. Guys, the struggles you face when you are short. I passed my 10th grade with flying colors, loads of memories and question marks. Question marks all over my face about what to do next. After various discussions and debates, I decided to choose commerce and join Crest. I was super excited, yet anxious about going to college. All this excitement and anxiousness dissipated when everything and everyone were behind screens. During these classes, I played Sudoku, listened to music, watched movies, and stayed bored. Believe it or not, I stopped getting bored of being bored, if you get what I mean. While classes were still online, I found friends who stayed far. So any guesses on what our hangout spot was? Google Meet. Yes. Be it gossip sessions, studying for exams, watching movies, or even embarrassing ourselves. It was all held there. One thing that I learned in the process was that you should never bother about being judged and just do what feels right to you. Also. One piece of advice that I would give to all of you sitting here. Dropping random texts to your busy friends is the key to reminding them that you still exist. College was over. A box filled with memories and question marks. Yet again clueless about what to study for. Tell me, how is a 17-year-old teenager supposed to decide what he or she wants to do without having been able to explore or see what the world has to offer? Now, should I take up interior designing because I think I'm interested in it? Or take up science because I scored really well? Or the best of all, do CA. Why? Because my relatives thought so. Now, after watching a bunch of YouTube videos and conversing with experts, I decided to choose commerce, and yes, I did choose to do commerce. Now, how I ended up in Jain University is a tale for another day. But I believe that I am a person filled with past experiences, and I'm fully convinced that life here will make me a better person tomorrow. Life has always been filled with question marks for me, even during the smallest of my decisions. But let me tell you one thing. It is okay. It is absolutely okay for life to be that way, because eventually you will figure it all out, no matter how or when. But you will, just like I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashi, for taking us through your wonderful journey. As I was listening to your speech, I also realized that the question marks become even more as you grow up instead of becoming less. So, anyway, hopefully one day we'll figure out all these answers, right? Now, moving on to our second speaker. Our second speaker is attempting again his icebreaker from the presentation mastery pathway. Before I move on again to the speaker's evaluator loves exploring new things, whether it's new restaurants or destinations. However, he told me, same old wife. And that's not changed. So I clarified that with him. But new experiences in all other ways. The evaluator is Guru Prasad. I will not ask him to read the guidelines because it has already been read before by Ganesh, so those still stand. The second speaker is a fitness enthusiast who runs 5 kilometers every day. I don't know whether he ran to this meeting. I have no idea. I think it's in the morning, right? With his speech title, Know Your Member, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Jeevan.
I walked into the room filled with thousands of audience, holding a pointer in my hand, a red screen in the background, giving my first ever TEDx speech. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
A small idea of mine can be where I am today. The difficulties I faced in my college days in organizing individual visit gave birth to my venture by name Practico. I'm an entrepreneur with purpose to create abundance of opportunities to skill and train people digitally. Like all of us, I had a normal upbringing. I completed my post-graduation from Christ deemed to be University and undergraduation from Sheshadipuram College. Since I didn't like Newton's law, it was very difficult to understand. I shifted to commerce and completed my PU from AAC Degree College and schooling from St. Martin High School. If I look for the motivation, I go to my terrace and have a 360-degree look. Ask me why.
Why?
On the left, I can see Christ deemed to be University. On this side, I can see Sheshadipuram College. On that side, I can see AAC Degree College, even St. Martin College. Sorry, school. And that's are the places which made me who am I today. During leisure, I like to sit with the nature and writing some good notes. And I like to visit 2 different rooms every day. One, go into my room for the body fit, and next, go into my library for the mind fit. I joined Toastmaster in the year 2019 and served in the various roles like Vice President Education, Sergeant at Arms, and also I was a part of Speechcraft program. My father is a textile agent, mother, she's a homemaker, brother works in agreement. My parents used to tell Jeevan, if you want to be a successful person, hang around with the successful people. If you want to be a great, hang around with the great people. If you want to be a good speaker, then hang around with? Toastmasters. No, Bangalore Toastmasters Club. Dear Toastmasters, this is how my first speech will be when I walk into the room filled with thousands of audience, holding a pointer in my hand, a red background, giving my first ever TEDx speech. And this is my inspirations to join Bangalore Toastmasters Club. When we sweat in peace, we bleed less during war. And I'm sweating my peace to become a global business magnate by 2023. Date 5/5. Thank you. Over to you, Modi.
He was talking about his future TEDx speech. I thought he was in a TEDx speech. Right? So, really well done. Now, moving on to our third speaker. Our third speaker is attempting level 2 from the engaging humor pathway. The speaker's evaluator is a connoisseur of music and also is a choir singer. May I request the speaker's evaluator, Toastmaster Richard, to read the guidelines of the speaker's speech.
Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. The purpose of this project, know your sense of humor, is for the speaker to develop the practice of collection of humorous stories and anecdotes, and today to develop a speech which includes humor. Time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. Go to Gabriel.
Our speaker is a very sweet person who loves bitter gourd. This is not a humorous speech, So it's a serious fact. I know he's an engaging humor pathway. With his speech title of Mango and Rods, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Abe Kotari.
I clearly have no rival in this country, O King. I am the best. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. A magician thus challenged the king, Krishna Deva Raya, who didn't really take his spirit lightly. He called upon his best man, Tenali Raman, and said, defeat this guy, accept his challenge, and I'll give you 1,000 gold coins. Raman, with an air of nonchalance, said, of course, no problem. And the next day when the court started, Raman walked up to the magician and he said, what I can do with my eyes shut, I am sure you cannot even do with your eyes open. Filled with ego, the magician said, nonsense! I can do anything much more gracefully with my eyes open than you can do with your eyes shut. Raman quickly pulled out a box filled with chili powder, sat down, closed his eyes, placed the chili powder and stood in silence laughing all for 1 minute. Then he carefully removed the chili powder and said, it's your turn now. Such was the intelligence of Tenali Raman. But there were times when things were different. Raman had to make his point. One time, when the king Krishna Deva Raya was wallowed in grief, he was extremely disappointed and sad due to the loss of his mother. He was attached to her very much. The disappointment was, or the grief was compounded because of the fact that he could not fulfill her last wish. Her last wish was to eat a mango. But by the time it was brought to her, she passed on. And when a person is in grief, like Krishna Deva Raya, he went and consulted the high priest, Tatachari. Gurudev, I am extremely sad because I could not fulfill my mother's wish. What can I do to appease her soul? What can I really do? Tatachari sensed a heaven-sent opportunity to earn some riches. His eyes gleamed and he said, it's very simple, sir. If a person dies without his last wish being fulfilled, you have to give the same thing to 108 priests so that his soul will, or her soul will be appeased. And in this case, since your mother died with the want of a mango, you can donate 108 mangoes made of gold to 108 priests. Krishna Deva Raya felt relieved and ordered a huge quantity of gold to be procured and be fashioned into mangoes. But when the news reached Tenali Raman, he was absolutely disgusted. Now, Tenali Raman was not averse to riches himself, but death was something that he considered very sacred. And the fact that it was so blatantly used to extract riches from his king annoyed him even more. So while the 108 beneficiaries walked home with their mangoes, Tenali Raman proceeded to seed a plan of his own. A week passed and he went to Tatachari, very penitent in manner, and said, Gurudev, I am extremely sad. I could not fulfill the wish of my mother. I really need your favor. Tatachari was still hurt from the pranks that Raman played on him and said, what do you want, Raman? He said, I only need your favor to fulfill my mother's last wish. And I heard that if it is given the same thing to priests, then the soul can be appeased. Now, Tatachari's eyes gleamed again. Another heaven-sent opportunity. What with all the gold purses and rewards that the king usually showered Tenali Raman with, he thought. I said, come, Raman, sit next to me. Don't worry. I will gather priests and come to your house tomorrow. Raman said, okay. Tatachari gathered 107 priests and walked into Raman's house. The priests were dreaming about all the heavenly gifts. They were rubbing their hands in glee, and they hardly noticed that guards with red hot iron rods were locking the doors. The moment everyone was inside, Raman announced, "Let the branding begin." The priests were stupefied, looked bewildered, and then the room was filled with shrieks and screams. Some priests managed to escape, and one among them was Tatachari. He ran to the court and choked out an account of the insolence of Raman. The king was angry. "Bring that rascal here. Bring him. He has gone too far." And ordered the guards to rescue all the other priests. While the king waited for Raman, he could hardly contain his anger. And when Raman walked in, he was questioned. Raman, with a cool air, said, "What is the fuss all about? I was told that if someone dies, and if we give the same thing to the priest, their soul is appeased. And I have done just that. In fact, before giving what my mother was supposed to receive, she had rheumatism and wanted to be branded with a red hot iron to appease her pain. So I have taken the advice of Guru Tatachari. He agreed to accept this on my mother's behalf. So I have called. And now that I have given this gift, they are complaining." Tatachari was studying the floor very seriously, as if he was fascinated by the floor. The king understood and said, "Tatachari, I want to speak to you and all the priests." And now, just like I will leave the stage, Raman had made his point, and I'm sure all of you also get the point. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you for that humorous speech, Abhay. This speech was sourced by The Wit of Tenali Rama by Devika R. Please keep in mind. So now, you know what's remaining? A huge round of applause, right? So can we all give them a huge round of applause, please? You know, when I said, can we give him a huge round of applause, clap, I saw a lot of unhappy faces. You know, some people are like, and some are, right? So I'll give you a very fun-filled fact, because I can see a lot of health freaks here, some people who like to boost people's confidence. I want to tell you one very interesting fact. Did you know clapping is good for health? Yes. Right? You know, it stimulates the acupuncture points and it improves your blood pressure. So it's good for health. So remember that. So use every opportunity to clap, right? And the best part about it is it improves the confidence of everyone on stage as well, right? So feel free to clap, and you can do that right now as well. Right? On that high note, we are going to take a short 5-minute break, and then we'll be back for the exciting table topics. See you in 5 minutes.
We are on time.
Very much on.
Shorten the date to 5 minutes. It's 30 minutes, so So I think red at 1.5. Green first. Red. I thought it's a short one. It's 1 to 1.5 minutes.
It's two actually. I'm doing grace of things, but getting more people. Sometimes it's a topic master. If he wants more people, they just.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's a lot easier to get people to come back and sit when snacks are not involved, right? Very easy. I could see people, a lot of people already waiting. Now, I think the voting code for today has taken inspiration from table topics itself. The voting code is guts. Okay? So please remember, voting code is guts. So please vote for the best speaker. Now, our table topic master has started learning classical music, which has been for a long while in his bucket list. He didn't get into the aspects of dancing to people's tunes and all of that, but he's learning classical music. Let's just stick to that. Right? Now, if you look at him, you will get a complex when it comes to fitness. Okay? So, as he walks up, please notice him very carefully. The table topic master for today, Toastmaster Ayyappa.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alan. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. When the going gets tough, tough gets going. That's all about table topics, right? And as you all know, table topics are impromptu talks are very important in our daily life than the prepared speech, I would say. Sometimes you know what situation will be in and you have to speak about that. So a couple of techniques which I follow usually. One is the prep method. So when the topic is given, set the context and substantiate with your reason, your experience, and this is why I'm setting, my point is, right? The first one. Sometimes you can have the statement, whatever the topic is, given to you, you consider this problem and what solution you can give from your point. That's the one thing. And also you can talk about the pros and cons of the topic. And keeping all those in mind, right? Whatever may be the topic, just have the message in mind. What is that you really want to convey? Because many times what we do is we just come here and rattle it around and go, right? But actually speaking, the real life will not work out. So you have to improvise for every table topic you attend here. You should see the improvement in next time, right? So have the message in mind, and around the message, whatever the funny topic it is, okay? So have the message and try to deliver that message to the audience. Make sense? Yes. Thank you. First, I call the topic twice, and I will not tell the name first. It may be very generic. Okay, you guess the topic is coming. You just think of the topic, brainstorm yourself, and come here slowly. Okay? Yeah. The first topic is time. Time is 1.5 minutes.
1 to 1.5.
Yeah, 1 to 1.5 minutes. Yes. Yeah. The first topic is be the energy you wish to attract. Be the energy you wish to attract. The topic goes to Toastmaster Saurabh. Be the energy you wish to attract.
Okay. Good evening, all Toastmaster.
Good evening.
I always dream about being the energy, very highly energetic person. So, what it means that I would say that if I meet anyone who is a highly energetic person, I feel very motivated at that time. So the way the IIT, trying to shout and in a high volume and trying to attract me and trying to pull me to the come to stage and match with your energy level. So similarly, this is something which I always try to become and try to get that energy and which I always wish to have.
Next topic is, it is not what you are called, but what you are answered to. It is not what you are called, but you are answered to. Topic goes to Toastmaster Sureka.
story about my aunt. She's 94 years old and rocking today. But her life really sucked. When she was 30, she had 3 children in the age bracket of 12, 8 and 6. And her husband, my mama, my mother's cousin, was declared a murderer. It was a village murder he was involved in. He was sent to life imprisonment. Then she had a beautiful daughter at 18 years old. Couldn't get her married. In the 1960s, nobody wanted to marry a murderer's daughter. Finally, she got her married to her sister-in-law's son. He was a hardcore addict. He died of cirrhosis of the liver. Her second son, a flourishing lawyer in Pune, committed suicide because he suffered from clinical depression at the age of 33, leaving behind a young wife and 3 tiny children. And the third son injected himself intravenously with insulin, and today is a retard. He has the brain of a 5-year-old. But even today, if I go to mommy, she calls me in, she's so happy receiving me, offers me her Vaj Bakri chai and her Gloco biscuit packet and says, tell me how the children are doing. She never got into the complaining, blaming mode. She never got bitter, angry or resentful. She never said, why me? She must have said, why not me? She knew she couldn't turn the tides, but she had learned how to swim. So friends, let's learn that it's not what life brings to us, it's the attitude that we bring to life that really counts. It's not what happens to us, it's what we do with what happens to us that really counts. A positive, proactive attitude is good, not because we feel good, but because we live good. Thank you.
Yes, okay, next topic is newlyweds car will have a sticker happily married. You mean to say that someone's happily married? Topic goes to Sri Lakshmi. Newlyweds car will have a sticker saying happily married. You mean to say someone's happily married?
Thank you, Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. It's all about, as Sureka ma'am said, just the way you look at it. A happy marriage can end up being a bad marriage because of your attitude. A very bad marriage when you're suffering, but you know how to deal with your husband or the vice versa. It can turn out to be a very pleasant experience for both of them. So time and again, I've been told, it's grandparents, parents, and all of us, I'm sure, know, who've been, married for quite some time, that the first year can be a little challenging, right? You're getting to know, especially if it's an arranged marriage, similar to mine. So it wasn't a pleasant one, but we were trying to make it, right? So there was a journey from how it went to not exactly a bad, but understanding each other, trying to get the best of, each other's, or bringing out better experiences and better qualities of each other, right? So today I can say, when I look back, I'm glad I took that plunge of understanding and coming out and being happily married, or also I believe happily married. Back to you.
Next topic is you have to call Prince Charles and express your condolence message on sad demise of Queen Elizabeth. You have to call Prince Charles and express your condolence message on sad demise of Queen Elizabeth. Topic goes to Chiram. Prince Charles, yes. Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is, even then, so no matter who it is, so everyone, the beloved people next to them is in the grief situation. So I don't know. I literally don't believe that calling Prince Charles and conveying my condolences because of all the things the white people have done in our country in the name of a queen. So I don't believe in that. But still, he is a human being. He lives somewhere. He has a family, and he goes through all the situations like the human emotion, what we are going to inculcate, like whenever our own people pass out. So I would say that I don't know, never look your eyes towards India again. So your Queen has done it, and we don't want the king to come here and say that. So this is not the situation. But you have to do something so where even all the people where at least I would say that return our Koinur diamond back. That is the one thing. So then I have to say my condolences, right? So what could I say? So it is about life has to move on. So no, I'm literally saying whoever may disappear, so life has to move on. So you cannot commit suicide because someone has disappeared, right? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, no problem. So you are at the graduation ceremony of your son, and you are called by the principal to share a few words. You are at the graduation ceremony of your son or daughter, and you are called by the principal to share a few words. Toastmaster Bruno D'Souza.
I'm happy that my son or my daughter is going to graduate. First of all, why would the principal call me specifically? Why? Is it because not because I'm a Toastmaster? Maybe he found something in me that no one else saw. And what would I say on a graduation day? It all depends on where the graduation is and what's in the vicinity of the graduation, the place. What would people do on a graduation day? Or what should they do on a graduation day? First of all, they should feel happy that the parents paid huge amount of fees and they did not blow it up, but instead actually they were able to use that and do it in the right way. So I would say, okay, you've done a great job. And second thing is what not to do on a graduation day after the ceremony. So a few tips from I would ask one of our Rashi, what would you recommend that graduates shouldn't do on that night? Okay, it's okay. Think, okay. Anyway, I don't know I'm getting answers from everybody. So that's it for now. Over to you.
Thank you. Next topic is you go home drunk and your wife gets angry and yells at you. Why did you come home drunk? By mistake you say, baby, only when I drunk, you look so beautiful. Rest is history. How do you manage the situation? Toastmaster Vivek.
I go home drunk. The wife finds that I try to maintain all my composure, but it doesn't really happen. So she finds out I'm drunk. Now I will tell her, see, you know this is the first time I am drinking. So there has to be a reason, and the reason is you. So why did I get drunk? Because after 3 years, I took our son to Toastmasters and he told me that you have never told. So why don't you surprise your surprised mom? So this is the only way to surprise mom, by drinking. So then I ask Ayyappa for some suggestion. So he takes me around in one of the pubs on NG Road. And while my son is still waiting at the security guard, he's not let in because he's underage. And then I drink and go, and finally she seems to be fine with it. She told me, you should have called me. I would have also joined. So the entire thing is absolutely fine and cordial. So maybe Ayyappa will still go to the pub next time.
topic is, when did you feel last time honesty is not the best policy? When did you feel last time honesty is not the best policy? Topic goes to Toastmaster Richard.
Honesty is the best policy.
Honesty is not the best policy.
Table topic master, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. I, being a banker, always was alleged by my colleagues and senior authorities that I was too generous. I was believing people more than what they deserve. And I had to pay heavy price for this many a times. Mainly, people, when you lend, they should know the value of the money. Always said, the less is best. And the resources are scarce, they should know the value of the resources to put them to the optimum use. But I was believing more on face value. And one particular gentleman, those days, he said that I am a yoga teacher, and I was totally carried away by his assurance. I lent and ended up the loan being bad, and naturally I had invited the reprimands from my head office. Therefore, honesty, you should know whom to believe. That's most important thing. Go to the table topic.
Next topic is, why do you think dogs wag their tail always, all the time? Why do you think dogs wag their tail all the time? Topic goes to Pudding.
I don't know why. In school, I had read about how to interpret the tail of a dog. And I just remember one, and I always scan for that. When the tail of the dog is straight up, like 12 o'clock, that means it's in attacking mode. And so every time, there are a lot of dogs where I live, a lot of stray dogs, a lot of pet dogs, and some are nice and some are ferocious. And I always, when I walk around my home, I always, and they come, because dad and my family members, we give biscuits, we give roti, whatever we can give. So they come, and I get terrified. I hide it well, that's why most people who walk with me don't know. But I always have a scanner for, is the tail straight up or not? If it's straight up, then I'm in trouble. If it's not, I can chill and I can just walk. So I don't know why dogs wag their tail. I don't even know if it's bent or not. Have you guys paid attention? It's not really bent. And if it's straight, it's mayhem. So make sure you keep your resilience for another day and just try to escape from the scene. I really don't think a dog's tail is bent. It wags a lot. I really don't know why it wags. Maybe somebody here can explain, and I'd like to know that too. Go to the table topic master.
Okay. Next topic is coffee with Karan or coffee with Shah Rukh Khan. Coffee goes to Toastmaster Joe Sport.
So topic master, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I think this is a very easy choice for me because I am not a celebrity, not very, what do you say, exciting person, so definitely not coffee with Karan. So it would be coffee with Shah Rukh Khan because one thing, if I meet him and would have coffee, I would want to know and understand is his ability, his resilience, and where the strength and the guts he had that brought him up to that level. I mean, it's amazing. I'm not a big fan of this, but I think it's amazing that from where he was, the way he built up, you find thousands and thousands of serial actors, and he was just one among them. When I remember those days when we used to watch Fauji, but there was something in him, that energy that he had, and that really showed up, and from there he's come this far. You have much more handsome looking people with so much solid background in the film industry, and so many other amazing qualities which you cannot compare that what he has, but he's outshot all of them. So that is something that I would definitely want to know during a coffee with him. What do you think?
Next topic is, why do you think Indian soaps are predominantly of Sasavu type? Indian soaps are predominantly of in-laws, daughter-in-law and mother-in-law type. Topic to Kamlesh.
Typically in India is predominantly mother-in-law, predominantly. I think there is a lot of misconception about mother-in-law and the father-in-law. When you get married, it's always that mother-in-law will be predominant and you will not able to do, because when you get married, all that start from S, Sas, Sasur, Sala and all, it all starts from that. But more important thing, what I understand, that you are connecting with the new relationship, right? And once your relationship, the older relationship has started doubting on your own self, right? So that is a old concept which is going to be changed now, and I think India is in the cusp of change, which we would think that whatever we are as a self is made by the other side of the family, which is not like that. So always think that what you are self, and it is not driven by others. So I think what is topic is given is not true, and I watch for it. Thank you.
I don't know, however the funnier topics are, the topics are getting serious and serious and serious. Okay, we have a guest from South Bombay Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Shaukat. Topic to Shaukat. If you get an opportunity to date with Rakhi Sawant, if you get an opportunity to date with Rakhi Sawant, yeah.
That's it.
Yes, that's it. You want a few more?
So, tabletop master, are you the one who's going to organize that date? Okay. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's not me going for a date with her, she's coming for a date. So yeah, don't we all say that we should be resilient, we should think about ourselves, right? So why should we think I am going for a date with somebody? Or coffee with Karan, or this way? Come. So I like to think of that way. And why Rakhi Sawant? Not somebody I particularly look up to. I've got so many other friends. All the Toastmasters, having a date with them. Just sit down, irrespective of gender, is what makes life so interesting. Say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me have an oxymoron quote. I never said most of the things I said. I never said most of the things I said. Topic goes to Aditya. I never said most of the things I said.
Okay. This particular line fits brilliantly well to me. I work as a strategist. I end up working with a lot of departments in my day-to-day life, and trust me, half the time I do not know what I'm saying. Right? And being like a person who works as a strategist, people really take my work very seriously. And what happens more often than not, when I'm having my weekly look backs, people will come and tell me, Aditya, you said this, right? I'm like, are you sure? Like, do you have recordings to prove this? And guess what? Technology has actually catched up enough to have recordings. So yeah, I do end up having consequences of my things. And what happens more often than not is I have to, you know, also take up this shit and then make sense of it, because ultimately I'm a strategist and I have to make sense of what I've said ultimately. So more often than not, what happens is because you're so busy working, you're so busy focusing on a few things. I don't know if you guys know this, there is something known as deep work. When you really shun out the voice around you, and like it's as simple as like if I'm working on my laptop and like, you know, going nibbling at it and somebody's like, bro, do you want to eat a piece of shit? I'm like, yeah. Could you just take that from me also? Right? Maybe with a cup of coffee. And that has happened. Like people, my friend Sagar is out there and just tried doing that with me. And yeah, so more often than not, what happens is I do end up saying shit. And people then also come back and prove it for me. So back to you, Modi.
So one more oxymoron quote. A lot of people never use their initiative because no one told them to. A lot of people never use their initiative because no one told them to. Topic goes to Toastmaster Kolhapur. Yes. A lot of people never use their initiative because no one told them to.
Yes, coming to Toastmaster is my initiative. As I was after my college will be over at 4:30. I was resting in my bed and I was searching for Toastmaster, whether I should go or not. I said I checked the distance. Whether to go or not. I was sleeping and not sleeping, and I was resting and checking the map. Then first time I thought that first time I don't check. Then if not not for me, not for it's not for me, or then I should leave. I won't go to Toastmaster. Then on first day came, and after see Sureka ma'am reception and everyone's they are speaking on the stage, and I got more attracted, and then I came to Toastmaster, and now I became a member.
Next topic is okay, it's a bit funny topic. The topic is okay, why can't guys wear bikinis? Why can't guys wear bikinis? Topic goes to Vishwanathan, Toastmaster Vishwanathan.
Probably the topic which is being given is only to listen and smile. That's the only I can say. Considering I am in the other part of the gender, it may not help me to even to explain actually how it would look like. Right? Probably any tips or any information might help me to even take those actually as some of the important points for me to even propose for some of my similar genders to try out and look at it. Probably it can only be experienced only if you try to do it. Probably do it within the closed room so that you know you got that confidence actually with you to even to try out that. And then probably you never know, actually we are in 21st century now, you move on to 22nd, you never know how we have to cover up ourselves. It might go in a way that we might cover our face but not other part of the body. You never know, it can happen. It can happen, right? We have been watching movies, especially the Hollywood movies. You never know how the way our time actually we used to watch, and the current kids, my own son who watches the different kind of Hollywood movies. So I think there is a sea change in the way we are looking at the world as such. So it might happen, we are just finger crossed. Thank you.
Next topic is If at all you get an opportunity to strike a conversation with Narendra Modi, how would you introduce yourself? If at all you get an opportunity to strike a conversation with Narendra Modi, how would you introduce yourself? Topic goes to Toastmaster Sitaram.
You were giving this.
Okay, you say it actually. Okay. I'll give the topic to Zafar, Toastmaster. Zafar. See, if at all you get an opportunity to meet Narendra Modi, how do you strike a conversation? How do you introduce yourself?
Okay. So, if at all I meet Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of our country, I will first take a good for him, not chai, but something that make him happy, maybe myself also. And then I will start introducing myself as I am Zafar from Bangalore. And then maybe I would ask him
Next topic is Bisbere Baat or Chow Chow Baat. Bisbere Baat or Chow Chow Baat. Topic goes to Prithvi or guest Prithvi.
Okay, so good evening guys. Bisbere Baat or Chow Chow Baat. It's both actually. I do not like both. And the reason for that specifically was because when I was here in Bangalore, I was studying. I passed out from Jain University, CMS, that's 2021, but that was COVID time. So before that, I was there actually for 1 year here, staying in a hostel. So our hostel had a very, very notorious reputation for being, well, you had to be very resilient in your stomach-wise to actually digest the food. So the Chow Chow Baat, it didn't end up very well for most of our hostel mates. So you actually had to go to the hospital because of that. They couldn't handle it. But yes, overall, Bisbere Baat was the lesser of the evils. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, last topic. Okay, fine. I'm one of Deepak also yet. Okay. When girls pose for selfie, the majority of them focus on the lips, like. Okay. What is the reason? Topic goes to Toastmaster Shelma.
Good evening, everyone. So when you take a selfie, generally you look your face onto the phone, and what you can actually pose on, it's your face, right? So lips is very easy to express. So how you can pose? You can pot your lips, or you can give different expressions to it, isn't it? You all girls agree with me?
Yes.
Thank you.
The last topic of tonight, this evening, 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. Topic goes to Toastmaster Deepak.
This reminds me about on my 10th standard actually. So I was just new to, I had joined in another school. I was quite new to school, okay. And one guy, he came up to me and he said, we'll prove 1 is equal to 2. Now, I thought he's talking nonsense, but he actually did some calculations, something he did, and he actually proved 1 is equal to 2. So, I couldn't really figure out how he did it. And okay. So this reminds me of that only.
all about perception. Like say the wall is, I can say the wall is green. That is my perception, right? It's all about perception. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you have enjoyed the topic. Good evening. Back to you.
Please give him a huge round of applause. As the table topics were being called, I was looking at everyone's expression, So table topics are very interesting session, you know why? When the table topic, the topic is not given to you, you start thinking, I'll say this, I'll say that, what he's talking, I would have said this. Until the topic is given to you, then you are thinking, this topic is the worst topic I only have to land in this. Right? So anyway, he said 2 plus 2 equals 5, 2 plus 2, I was seeing stars, I don't know. Yeah. So, anyway, again, guys, please give a huge round of applause to the table topic master and all of the people who spoke. Guys, wonderful job. It's now time for the evaluation session, and it's now my turn to introduce the General Evaluator. Something interesting about the General Evaluator was that he was born in the same year that Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. Now I knew this is happening. Please put your phones down. Stop trying to figure out his age. Okay? He is a seasoned Toastmaster who recently came back into the fold of Bangalore Toastmasters. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the General Evaluator for the evening, Toastmaster Ratan Shetty.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening.
Good evening, dear fellow Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening.
Thanks, Toastmaster Adam, for that brief and generous introduction. Now, coming to first of all the proceeds of the meeting, how the meeting went. So, I would be giving my feedback on the meeting as well as the speeches, as well as all the people who've taken their roles, and then I will be assisted by my team of evaluators as well as the tag team. To begin with, I will give the feedback on the conduct of the meeting. We first had the Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Sai Deepak, take stage. And what I liked about Toastmaster Sai Deepak was the beautiful way in which he came up here and waited for everyone to settle down. And at the dot when the clock struck 6:30, he started the meeting by addressing. And even before he started, even before his address, he ensured that the accolades which the awards which the club has won were all displayed and in place, and the meeting was totally set up. I was here at 6 o'clock and he was very much there, and he was on his toes, ensuring that everything was set up. So, coming to his address, now his address as the Sergeant at Arms was very loud and clear, and from the outset he really brought in energy into the meeting. That is the primary role of the Sergeant at Arms, to infuse energy into the meeting, because he's the first person that takes the stage. One area of improvement from my side to the Sergeant at Arms would be to spend maybe a few seconds more in introducing the President or the presiding officer, in this case the presiding officer, and say a little bit about the background of the person. He said that he's a tough person. Having said that, he could have said what he's doing and what are his achievements and these are things that he could have said. So what I thought. Overall, for infusing energy and for all the a big round of applause to our Sergeant at Arms, Toastmasters. We then had our presiding officer for the day take the stage, the VP Education, Toastmaster Valuation. What I loved about Toastmasters Vaidyanathan's address was his voice, first of all, his voice, and he started with a story. And in his story, what I liked was that it was a very conversational tone. There were a lot of pauses. Moving on, he introduced the guests. There was a rousing welcome, and I found it a welcome change that he took the time to introduce each and every guest, even though it was just who the person was and where he or she came from. He gave a very apt introduction to our Toastmaster of the day. One area which I felt Vaidyanathan could have done better was when we here in Bangalore Toastmasters Club, we touch upon the theme. The president or the presiding officer touches upon the theme. But we need not say that the theme of the day is this. The presiding officer can straight away say or narrate an anecdote or express his or her thoughts on the theme of the day, instead of starting with saying that the theme is so and so. For his role as presiding officer and for really sharing his story and really pepping up all of us, I would request all of you to give a big round of applause to our presiding officer. I learned this from Bangalore Toastmasters Club, that the Toastmaster of the Day's feedback is always kept after the TTM or for the end. So I will stay with that tradition. And I would first give Toastmaster Ayyappa my feedback. Toastmaster Ayyappa, you started off by reiterating the fact that you would have the topics based on the theme. That was something that needs to be done. You mentioned that the message has to be clear, and then we had the participants come up and speak about their topics. Where I found that you really excelled was the fact that, except for the last couple of topics, everybody was able to speak for say 1.5 minutes or so, or maybe even till the time that some of them even spoke for 2 minutes. So that is an achievement, giving topics that people can speak about. You stuck to the routine of allowing people maybe a few seconds to think about the topic by announcing the topic first. You had a diary, a neat diary where you had all the topics written down. All these things were very beautifully done. Most of the topics, I would say 80% to 90% of the topics were given to people who did not have roles. Again, copybook style. So it really goes to show that you are a person who's kind of learned the tricks of the trade. And just a couple of areas from my side that you can work on probably on your next role as a table topic master. Number one, the time aspect was not clear to me as a member of the audience, wherein you said that 1 to 1.5 minutes, because I think it's 1 to 2 minutes and you could actually ask the timer to announce what the timings are and then which card is displayed when. That was one. The second aspect was about towards the end, I felt that the topics became a bit difficult for the people to speak upon. I think that's all I have in terms of areas of improvement. Just a couple of areas of improvement. But the topics, were the topics fun? Was the table topic session fun?
Yes.
It was absolutely rip-roaring session. And a big round of applause to Toastmaster table topic session. Now we had stories of resilience come from the president, from the TMOD, and also from the everyone who took up the stage, right from the Sergeant at Arms concern. A person who really took the stage by storm was our Toastmaster of the day. Yeah. And Toastmaster Alan Arana was our TMOD. His voice is something that is so clear, so loud, and a resonant voice. To add to this, he had his own story which he wanted to share. He had a lot of humor in his address, and he actually interspersed his entire role with a lot of humor in between. He labored for getting introductions from each speaker, role taker, everyone. He introduced each one whom he actually spoke about. And couple of things that a Toastmaster of the day has to bring in, which I myself have struggled initially when I took up this role, was number one, to keep up the energy till the end of the meeting, and the number two is to lead the applause. This is the primary role of the Toastmaster of the day, to lead the applause. Wherever the audience doesn't applaud naturally, it has to be led, and you did it beautifully. Some areas where I thought Alan you could work on is, the choice of words, the movement out here. When you say that for Toastmasters, even though you did mention about Toastmasters, when you're talking about Toastmasters and you're introducing it, it has to be something, a movement or the movement is what you can speak of. And some places I found that your voice was a little jarring. So you can just, it's just a question of being aware of it. The introductions also, the, why the people who gave their icebreaker speeches, I think the second person you introduce, which is not necessary. He can just speak, he or she can speak about himself or herself, everything. And the last point is that the standing ovation also is something that's so important. The person who's giving an icebreaker speech or a landmark speech, when people give a standing ovation, that has to be led by the TMO. And you have to ensure that the person is standing here till the time the ovation goes on. So this is one thing I thought is that quite an important thing that you needed to look into. But apart from that, Toastmaster Alan, you also really excelled in your role, and for your energy, I would say a very big round of applause for that. I have some suggestions from my side on the conduct of the meeting, which I keep for the end. And right now, what we will go with is the speech evaluations. I first of all, I would like to invite Toastmaster Ganesh to come up and give his feedback for the first speaker of the day, that is Toastmaster Raj.
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and target speaker, Rashi in particular, a very good evening to you all again. Toastmaster Rashi, congratulations on a blockbuster debut on stage. I must say it was a terrific icebreaker speech. Icebreaker speech for me at the core is two things. One is how well you introduce yourself and the structure of the speech. And on both the fronts, you did a brilliant job. And let me tell you why I believe so. First up, in terms of the confidence, it was sky high. Even before Toastmaster Alan could finish half of his introduction, you were almost halfway through. I thought you would dislodge him at a point. So there were confidence strides on towards the stage, and even on the stage, in terms of your voice or the hand movements, absolutely flawless, and it was pro performance, you have to say that. Next, on the structure, here as well, you clearly took us through each phase of your life, and there was a chronology in terms of how you described each aspect of your life, and the little nuances you brought in terms of the episode with your brother and those water bottle incident. I really loved it. It was so vivid, you could really visualize it as you were saying. Third is the vulnerabilities. Here you clearly stole the show for me. In fact, you wore your vulnerabilities on your sleeve in terms of being open about the predicament, what you went through. And it is so common. Every one of us has gone through, but we somehow feel it, hey, it's a little awkward to, or we feel it a little awkward to share that. But here you were absolutely upfront and honest about some of those things, which other than how you really faced it. Having said that, now what are a few things you may want to work on? I have heard this, you may have heard this term all-rounder, but today, looking at your stage movement, I've got a new word, all-rounder. So, you're actually all around the stage, to say the least. That's something you may want to, in terms of, making it absolutely purposeful, the movements around stage. Second is the rate of speech. Do you have flight tickets? Because you really finished it fast. It was fast and furious 9, 10, I don't know which is one, but you were really, really fast. You finished it in 4 minutes 30 seconds. So that's something. You had a lot of stage time left. You can slow down a bit. Now to challenge yourself, what you can do in your upcoming speeches. You can bring a little bit of emotional quotient in your speech. I thought you will like that. Try to bring in some of those emotional aspects, because nothing connects audience like the emotion. So that is something you may want to work on. Other thing is called something called planting word points. What do I mean by that? Have certain flagship moments of your life and see how you evolve from there. Okay, here it was all of a narration. See if you can bring in some of those defining moments of your life and how it really impacted you. I think that really connects well with the audience. Having said, I think I must say you have done a terrific job. Look forward to your next speeches. Though your speech title was question mark, but we got a lot of answers here. All the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ganesh. As the General Evaluator, it's my duty to provide my feedback to the evaluator rather than the speaker. On certain counts, Evaluator Ganesh did extremely well. That is, first of all, delineating the objectives. What is the objective of an icebreaker speech? Infusing humor throughout his evaluation, towards the end as well. And making it a comprehensive evaluation. I think that was beautifully done. And when he said that the time the time that was taken by the speaker was lesser than what she could have, he also mentioned how she could have added a little bit, where she could have added a little bit. One feedback from my side to the evaluator is when we say that the structure was good for the benefit of the audience, we would like to say that by structure we mean OBC, that is the opening, body and conclusion, and then how the speaker did on that count, maybe a few seconds on that aspect. And probably you would want to, humor made it very interactive, so I would say that no worries on that count as such. But very well-rounded evaluation, and what do we give Toastmaster Ganesh for that? Now, for giving the feedback to Toastmaster Jeevan on his speech, I would request Toastmaster Guru to please come up and give.
Good evening, Toastmasters.
Good evening.
Jeevan in particular. Let me congratulate Jeevan for his start of new pathway. And for the second time, he is going to give us icebreaker. Congratulations, Jeevan, for your icebreaker speech. So, we want to know about himself to the club. So all of us know about Jivan today? Yes, fantastic. Job done. So let us go to the evaluation of the speech. Let's look at the structure is required, or let us go to the guidelines. So looking at the speech is fantastic. I always feel, as his name says, Jivan, there's a new star born in our club, Bangalore Toastmasters. Fantastic speech, great introduction, and about yourself, your goals, your target, everything is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So let us see what is that is required. What I felt. So when we give a speech, the introduction, that's what the kind of a body, like opening, body and conclusion. You have just complete your speech in 3 minutes, 8 seconds. You have time of around about 6 minutes. Every minute you can speak around about 150 words. So you have to calculate and have an opening. So your opening is fantastic, no doubt about it. Content is fantastic. When you're talking to an icebreaker, people want to not about knowing about you, but we are also looking forward to know about your friends. You want to hear more about your family members, and we are also looking for your hobbies. So all this content will help you to build your structure. That is how, when we look at a movie, the introduction is super duper. Then we need the content to make the audience on the seat belts up. So we need to build that content. So going next time when you are trying a speech, probably you just work on the time and build a story with bring an emotion to that. When you're talking about your friends, the emotion starts. When you're talking about family members, emotion starts. In fact, I've connected to your speech very well because I've seen me in you when you are giving your speech. When you're talking about your entrepreneurship, you want to become a TEDx speaker. I'm sure that we'll become TED speaker, not TEDx speaker. I'm 100% sure. You need to work out to become a TED speaker, and hope you that you reach many more miles to go, and also look forward from you many more speeches in this club. And having said that, please work on the timelines and the body, and also finally the punch again. Give the proper conclusion. We need a proper super duper climax to the audience. If we can bring in all those aspects, and most importantly, told me to try and check out your body language. Body language is not moving on the stage. Even if you are standing like here, like Sureka madam, if you are delivering it, you can bring out all your emotions on the stage. Having said that, you are a new star born in our Bangalore Toastmaster, and congratulations to you. Have a great time.
Thank you, Toastmaster Guru. That was a very encouraging evaluation, and that is one of the jobs of an evaluator, to encourage the speaker, and especially someone who's giving the icebreaker speech. I also like the fact that you summarized at the end the aspects that you wanted to emphasize on. The only feedback that I have from for you, Toastmaster Guru, is that I felt you were going a little bit back and forth in terms of the commendations and the recommendations. Usually we opt for the CRC method, which is the commendations, recommendations, and then you summarize, you comment and then you summarize. So what that does, we call that the sandwich method. That's probably, it's not hard and fast, but that helps give a structure to your evaluation. Now we move to our, before that, a big round of applause for both the speaker as well as the evaluator. We now move to the third speech, which was Richard to please provide his evaluation.
General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished, and Mr. Abhay in particular. The purpose of this project is to deliver a humorous speech from the material collected from different sources. And I asked the Toastmasters who are the audience here, was not the speech hilarious one? Yes. Is it? You like it? But it was surely full of laughter, and whole hall was reverberating with laughter, and I felt that the humor which we ignited was similar to the rockets which we light up during Deepavali. I was in awe for your body language, because to tell or to evoke laughter, mimic is most important, and you did it beautifully well. Body language was highly appreciable. Bring that counter here. When Krishna Devaraja was bereaved, he also felt that pain. And Tata Chari was ever willing to help, and he was full of energy because he was a beneficiary for all the things which he had approved. And Tenali Ramakrishna, whenever he found the gold was misused, how he felt? We felt more sorrowful than him. But excellent body language, and your vocal variety was really commendable. You had full confidence, flawless, and the flow was really excellent. And so your eloquence took all the audience with you. You collected the story of General Evaluator, which is time tested, so that you were able to carry the audience with you. And the title, which was of contrast, mangoes and rods. Mangoes were pertaining to that culprit, Tatachari, whereas the rods, that was decided by the auditor, Tenali Ramakrishna. It was able to bring a lot of emotions in the audience. I don't have any suggestions to offer to you, but only as a little breaking. You ended the speech at 7 minutes. You used the entire time. You had another 30 seconds to wind up. But you did it well, and people wanted to listen to you. You could have spoken for another 30 seconds. Nevertheless, a great speech, Abhay, and we would like to hear such humorous speeches more and more in ensuing this. Over to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Richard. Thank you for articulating your feedback for the speaker. One area from one feedback from my side is that I would have looked at, how he did vis-a-vis the objective. That's the only thing. We could have articulated what was the objective and how we did as per that, and then we could have probably elaborated on those aspects. But having said that, a big round of applause to both the speaker as well as the evaluator. We now move on to our tag team members. I would first ask Abhinandan to please give the timer report.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. So, starting with the prepared speech section, the speaker 1 took 4 minutes 25 seconds, speaker 2 3 minutes 8 seconds, speaker 3 7 minutes 11 seconds. In the table topic session, most of the speakers were at approximately 1 minute 30 seconds, which is the time limit. Some speakers fell short. Toastmaster Saurabh, 55 seconds. Toastmaster Zafar, 50 seconds. Toastmaster Prithvi, 1 minute. And Toastmaster Deepak, 50 seconds. The Sergeant at Arms took 3 minutes. The President, 7 minutes, 15 seconds. The Toastmaster of the day, 8 minutes plus around 5 into 1.5 minutes. The General Evaluator has taken 11 minutes plus 2 into 1.5 minutes.
Thank you for that detailed report, Toastmaster Abhinandan. I would straight away move on to the counter report from Toastmaster Abhijit.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It needs a lot of resilience to get to this stage and speak without using any filler words. The Toastmasters who made to the list of flawless speaking are Toastmaster Vedya. All the prepared speech speakers did extremely well. Big round of applause to them. Coming to the table topics, Toastmaster Bruno, Toastmaster Sureka, Toastmaster Puni, and special mention to the guest Prithvi, you did extremely well, and Toastmaster Shaukat from South Bombay, well done. And those who didn't make to this list, no worries, we have upcoming meetings, so be resilient. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a very crisp report. A big round of applause to Toastmaster Abhijit. Requesting Toastmaster Shelina to come up with a Grammarlian. Toastmaster Shelina.
So over here I am standing before you to share some of the good usage of words which we came across in today's meeting. So valued in grief, appeased, blatantly, bewildered, tricks and tricks. And there are some improvements area like shooting scene again. So you could have mentioned not seen or shooting scene. No, it was actually not seen, shooting scene as well. So shooting scene again. So the correct usage would have been not seen at shooting scene. So improvement in next time would have been used here as improvement next time. So some pronunciation, very mild correction, like instead of can, called, immersion, emotion. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shelma, for your Grammarlian report, and you highlighted the good usages and the not so good usages. The only thing that was missing was who all used the word of the day. But besides that, big round of applause to Toastmaster Sharma for the with that, we come to the end of the feedbacks. Now, there are a couple of suggestions from my side to the committee, which I felt which can be considered for the forthcoming meetings. Number one, the members when they are in the room, I've seen it in Bangalore Toastmasters Club itself. When they are dispersed, it becomes a little difficult for the speaker to look around. And you can get all the members, either the president can do it or the TMOD can get all the members forward. So that it becomes easier for the speakers and the people who are presenting. The feedback that I have is that There used to be TAGL, is what I remember, maybe 6 months back. The listener role is something that helps you to really be on your toes and listen better. So over a period of time, the members develop that habit of trying to aspire to be the best listener, and then they try to listen more to what was being said. I think it's a good idea to continue with that role. Having said that, for all the role takers today, all the speakers, and everyone who came on the stage, one big round of applause to everyone. Let the applause continue, and while I call our PMOD back on stage.
Please give the General Evaluator a huge round of applause for the evaluation. I would like to thank the committee for giving me this wonderful opportunity. As I said before at the start, I was extremely nervous, but thanks to your wonderful smiles, you even laughed when things were not funny, so thank you so much, right? And I thoroughly enjoyed being here on stage, introducing all the talented people that played a part. But most importantly, I want to thank you all because you made this evening so special. All the claps, everything, your little smile and your participation made this evening truly special. So please give yourselves a huge round of applause. With that, I call back the President for this meeting, Vedana.
Thank you very much. I think he deserves a round of applause once again. Excellent job done. So ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for the awards. To begin with, the best auxiliary role taker goes to Toastmaster Abhijit. The man who made us dance on stage, the man who was full of wit and humor, the man who took us through the meetings today. The Best Role Taker Award goes to Alan Aran. And he evaluated an icebreaker speech. And this is one of the hallmark evaluation you can ever think of. The way you can put this praise, a bit of suggestion, and then praise. So lovely. So the man who evaluated, Rashi Palgota, is awarded as the best evaluator for today's evening. I think Ganesh Point. He's a man who loves to wear bikini. So the man who loves to wear bikini is the best table topic speaker for today's evening. The youngest member of our club today broke our eyes, and she is the best speaker for today's evening. The award goes to Rashi Palgota. One more book for you. Sorry, a book for you. Well, that brings us to the end of today's meeting. Hope you enjoyed, and now it's time for me to adjourn meeting number 1, 3, 4, 5, and see you next week. Yes, the one for which we have been waiting for so long is ready, hot and cold as well. So please wait and savor the snacks, which is going to be offered by our beloved Sureka ma'am. With that, it's over. 1, 3, 4, 5 meeting gets adjourned. Thank you very much.